Say what? Hamburger?
Yeah, hamburger in Quebecois, not in French, in Quebecois.
Well, because usually I just say like our burger.
Exactly, hamburger.
Yeah.
Very simple. Or like you know what a hot dog is? What's hot dog?
Hot dog.
Hot dog. You see? So when you speak Quebecois, sometimes Quebecois has English in it. I'm
hearing the same words, in all honesty.
Or you can say
hot dog. Hot dog.
Well, to be fair about that, like in France, when I was younger, I did like a trip when I was like 12, and I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I can order by myself because it's in French. Yeah. And we went to McDonald's, and I wanted like a Happy Meal. And in French, like in Quebec, we say Joyeux Festin, which is like the translation. And then they all looked at me like I was some kind of lunatic. And I was like, what? And then they don't translate it there. So it's Happy Meal, but with a thick French accent, basically.
My Quebec friends used to make fun of me at like McDonald's or restaurants. Said, look, why don't you place the order to go? So I like, well, in English, it's like, I like a doggy bag. So I like, can I have a sac à chien? And they'd be like, what? No, it's not sac à chien. It's pour emporter, you know? But they all laugh at me like, let's have the next show.
You know how I know you're old? You say doggy bag.
Yeah.
Who the fuck says doggy
It's cute.
bag?
Come on.
It's cute.
No, nobody says that.
Hey, Luke's on the East Coast. That's old school area right there. Doggy bag.
Well, shoot, let's roll right into it if you want. Welcome to Social Kick. We got the full crew: Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, and Canadian Olympian Mary-Sophie Harvey. What's going on?
Yeah, not much. Just trying to relax since World Cups and then getting ready for World Champs.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we're going to get into some of that, but Mary, we always ask our Instagram audience at Social Kick Swim for some suggestions on what they want to ask our guests on the show. And we got a lot of interesting ones for you this week. You have quite the following. So we'll go in kind of a random order here, but first question from Paul Constant wants to know, what's your favorite soup? You got a favorite soup?
Wow. I think like mushroom cream.
Wow, you had an answer. John and Luke, do you guys have favorite soups? I hate soup.
But it's like soup season.
Like I'm anti-soup.
Well, Brian wants to live where it's like 140 degrees, so maybe that's why he's anti-soup.
Well, this is a true statement. I really do. I hate the cold. I don't like anything associated with being cold. So people, yeah, I don't know.
Soup has to be a meal. It can't be just watery stuff. It has to be like you have to bite into the soup.
Does ramen count as soup? Can I throw ramen in there? Because then I'd put ramen. But I mean, like chicken noodle or good clam chowder. I mean,
if you hear a Bostonian say it the right way, then I'll get down with the clam chowder.
Yeah, well, we got we got linguistic expert right down here, Mr. Luke Paddington. He's probably can say it.
How do you get a doggy bag of clam chowder? All right, this is another random one. Ellie Boss wanted to know, Mary, what app do you use to edit your pictures on Instagram? Is it a preset? What? You got an Instagram influencer wants to know how to do things the Mary-Sophie way.
Yeah, I use Lightroom and actually create my own presets. So,
all right.
Yeah.
We're taking note. Well, you taught us something already, so good job. 3 minutes in, you passed the teach us something test.
Yeah, you're hired. You should list on Skillshare, and then we're gonna hire you so that Luke can outsource photo editing to you.
Exactly.
All right, this one's from Kata Pardney asked, what's your favorite energy drink?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question, because this year I started to drink energy drink before every race.
Nice.
So I'm a big Monster person. My favorite flavor is the green one. It's Paradise. It's basically like kiwi and strawberry.
That sounds terrible.
But
I'm glad that you like it.
Like a full tall boy Monster?
Yeah. Like for every final, I would have like my own. The orange one, it's like, no, it's more like peach color. It's like Ultra Peach Queen. That one is pretty good also.
Ultra Peach Queen. Okay.
And with a 400 IM, you don't want to puke it up? Like it isn't.
No, it's because like, see, I used to have like a shot of an espresso and then a coffee before, like 2 hours before, and then a shot of espresso around like 45 minutes before. But like, I don't enjoy it while I'm swimming. Like I do my warm up and then they bring it up and it's so bitter and I'm like, it just stays in my mouth during the whole warm up and I'm like, ugh. Whereas the energy drink, it's actually nice and I can enjoy to drink it. So I think it's a good alternative.
Well, I will say that I used to drink a sugar-free Red Bull about 45 minutes before I raced, and I was mostly a sprinter, so I was like getting kind of jacked up. And I mean, if I must admit, my race routine was sugar-free Red Bull and a caffeine pill. Sometimes I would take a half, but I was like getting, and but like later in life, what happens when you have that kind of like the smell of Red Bull, the taste of it, I can't have it now because then it's like I don't race anymore. And then if I have a Red Bull, I'm like beating my chest, It's like Pavlovian in a way. I'm like, let's go. Which I think is like a way that, maybe that's what people want out of it, but there's not too many moments in my life that I'm looking for that. No.
Let's go, Visa.
So watch out for that.
Staff meeting.
Watch out for that later in life if you're drinking Monsters. You're gonna be like, "Let's go." All right, I'm gonna keep rolling with some of these audience questions. So this one was from Rosie5. Asked, "When was your first I made it moment?"
Damn. I think there was like a couple, just in terms of like stepping stones in my career. I think the first one was in 2017 when I moved to Turkey to train with energy. And I was like racing Sarah and I was like, damn, like I can race those guys. And that was like the first click I had in my swim career.
Luke was just talking about when we talked to James, like this was a few years ago now, back when you were with Energy Standard and all that. And he was talking about like you being just like the linchpin to why that team was successful. So yeah, the perfect pentagon on
Swim Cloud. Yeah, we looked at your swim cloud, and you look at a swimmer like Ingrid Wilm, right? So Ingrid has like really good freestyle, backstroke, obviously, and then it comes to breaststroke, it's a big dent in the pentagon. On you, the pentagon is perfect. It's like I am good at everything, at every stroke. Send it to me.
Yeah, one of my old coach used to tell me, he was like, "You're good at everything, but you're not the best at anything." Yeah.
Who told you that?
Thanks, coach.
I don't think he meant it like that.
Yeah, sounds like a dick.
You and I had
former coach.
You and I had some of the same coaches, Mary-Sophie. Who told you that?
No, I don't want to say that. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's such a cool t-shirt. Well, hoodie.
I swam for Camo in the 90s under Claude Saint Jean. So I overlapped with Greg because when he was swimming as well in the 90s. So that's your coach. Yeah. So I know it well. So I'm wearing this hot hoodie for you right now. I haven't seen
That's
for a while.
good. I really like it.
It's good. It's old school.
Let's go.
But now I'm going to take it off.
It's
hot.
weather.
1 second.
Yeah. All right. He's going to have a hot flash over.
Yeah,
I'm just getting old.
Andropause.
All right. So then we'll finish the audience questions with this one. This one's from Brooke LePage. What's a quote or motto that you live by?
That is a good question.
No slow strokes.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a classic like motto, but I think it's like doing everything with purpose. It's just like, just with that in mind, I just enjoy every step of the way a lot more.
I would imagine that hasn't always been. I'm just guessing because that sounds very intentional. That sounds like growth has happened to get to that point and way of thinking. So like, tell me more. Where does that come from?
I would say like, so throughout my swim career, I had a lot of like ups and downs, and it hasn't really been like steady for like a few years. And in 2023, I think I had like a little declick moment of I need to like enjoy the process more, and I need to be like more intentional in everything I do in life to better myself, not only as a swimmer, but like as an individual in itself. And I think when I had that change, it definitely made like a big difference in every sphere of my life.
Hey everybody, quick pause to say thank you for watching and listening to Social Kick. If you like this episode, give it a like. And if you like what we're all about, consider giving us a follow or subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at Social Kick Swim. You know what to do. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll keep telling all the stories about swimming. Cheers.
Since then, you've got engaged.
Yes.
You found love there, which was fantastic. You had a kick-ass second Olympics. You just swam more than 5 kilometers at the World Cups, and your personal life is obviously doing well. Talk to me, how's life been these last few months since Paris?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole 2024 year, like, or season, like even from like September 2023, the whole season has been a dream. Honestly, it's been like, it's so weird because now I'm 25, and for the typical like 25-year-old swimmer, you wouldn't see like a best time ever meet, but that was my case in 200 free. Every time I would swim it last year, I would drop time. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, like, how do you do it? And I'm like, it's just all the work I've put in the past 2 years are like starting to show. And the thing that got me fired up every time I would swim is I know I've done so much more work and it still hasn't shown yet. So I think like that was the main thing. And I mean, it's been a really good year. I'm excited for Worlds in December because I think it can end the whole season really well. But yeah, I think it's really cool, and it just shows that athletes' journey are all different, and you can peak at any age. And I think it just shows that like even at 25, you can do your first Olympic final.
Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. And do a best time Olympic final. People don't do best times Olympic finals. That was such a swim you did in that 200 freestyle. How are you choosing what you swim? Because if you're doing best times there, okay, I'm going to keep, but then let me see if the 4 IM is going to work out. So let me drop a bunch of gold medals at World Cups, but let me drop a 200 free short course in Budapest coming up. Like, how are you choosing what you're planning for to race? Because you can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to be able to do everything, but also I feel like it's kind of a curse because I never really know what my best event is. It's always like, what if like the 400 free was my best event, and if I would have focused on that, I would have been so much more successful. And also like when you're having a good season, or when I'm having a good season, it's like, it's really tempting to try different races. And then I surprise myself with just, for example, last year, the 100 fly. Like I qualified in the 100 fly, and that was just like a bonus because I knew I could do like a decent time. And I was like, I think I can like do the cut. And then I did it, and I was like, oh, it's cool. But like, I don't want it to be a focus. You know, it's like, it's just a bonus event. Of course, I have like core events that like have always been there. So like the 2 free, 2 IM. And then I'm like trying to get more events. And then I've been trying to get away from the 4 IM for free. They keep pulling me back in.
Why? Those sound so awesome. Yeah, right.
Well, because like I've always wanted to be a sprinter. I just think it's so cool. And I'm
everybody
like,
does.
I know. And like when I was younger, like you didn't really get to choose your events. So I would do like every single event, and it's fine because like I was good at it. So I was like, oh, okay, sure. And then, but I always wanted to be a sprinter, and all my coaches were like, listen, you're good at 400 and like maybe 200, but like, let's not push ourselves with hundreds and 50s. And I was just like, okay, like fine. And then Greg was actually the first coach that was like, okay, let's do 100 free. And I was like, whoa, really? And then it was really cool to like actually make the team in the 100 free and almost make the finale. That was something I never thought I would be able to do. And now like being part of the 4x1, like repetitively, and just being able to call myself a little bit more of a sprinter is something I've always dreamed of. I'm not to the 50 free yet. I don't get that event. I don't know how to swim it. There's too many stuff happening. But I mean, the 100 is fun, so I'll take it.
That's all right. If I could ever figure out the 100, then I envy that the skill set that you bring to it. I just think it's kind of fun. Like the problem that you have is uh, kind of like, well, you have so many things that you could do, and then you still have the priority events that I can understand why they remain the priority. That needs to kind of overlap with like what your personal interests are. But like, I guess I always had those moments at swim meets where I think for me the one race that I never got to do that I thought I could be good at is a short course 200 back. I never had a chance to do it. I was good at kicking on my back. Didn't really make sense. I was mostly a sprinter, but for some reason, like that's an event. I held a lot of water, short course, and I could kick. And but I never did it, you know? And also I ended up breaking the American record, the 50 butterfly, but I was never a butterflyer on any of our college relays. So I never swam butterfly on relays, which like, I wasn't as good underwater. I was good on top of the water, but like, there's some examples where like, the opportunity just like never comes up to do the thing. And I don't know. It sounds like you maybe have some of those opportunities, but is there anything out there that you're like, I would really enjoy that or be good at that, but it's like never going to make the cut?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, it sounds really bad. I'm not like, oh, like I'm so good in real life. I'm really not. But I personally, I think that like if I want to focus on one event for the whole year, I could probably qualify at trials at the end of that year, like any event.
That'd be awesome. Would that be something that like people are so into Strava right now? I wonder if you'd be like just like doing sport for fun. I think it'd be like kind of interesting, fun like project to do, but maybe a distraction from the season. But that sounds like fun.
Because like in 2023 we started doing the 100 free, and then I qualified for the 100 free at Worlds, and then last year we started doing the 100 fly, and then I qualified for it. So I think if I put my mind into it and like just train for it and go for it, I think I can probably manage. Probably maybe not win, but I would say like qualify.
Yeah.
But to rain on the sprinter, wants and needs that you have, watching the World Cup and watching you like run down people in the 400 and 400 IM, I'm like, why does she not want to do these events? She's doing so well with them, and I get, you're good at a lot of events, and it gets tricky, right? And then there's the relay, possibilities for the 100 and 200. So those, I get that side, but it's like, man, there's so much, we'll say it, potential there.
Yeah.
So tell me, elaborate more.
Yeah, I mean the 400s, they've always been like a love-hate relationship with me. They used to be my bread and butter when I was younger, and then when I got injured, it was mostly because I was training so much for those events, and it got to a point where like I didn't like swimming, and I kind of associated this with the 400s. Mm-hmm. And like, yes, like everyone was like, you would be so good at it. And I'd be like, I understand, but like, I don't want to do them, And it was like, I decided to like retire from them. I was like, I'm never going to do them again. And then last year, I told Greg, I was like, okay, like maybe I can do one long course and like see. And I was so nervous. It was like a giant open, and I was so nervous for it. So then like in the morning, I think I did faster in my breaststroke split than my backstroke split. Like I was like cruising the first 200 because I was so scared that I was going to just like die.
Sure.
And then it was like not too bad for the morning. I can't even remember the time, but it was like in the 440s. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. And then at night, I went 4:36, and I was like right on my best time from like 2016. And I was like, whoa, like I did not expect that. And then obviously like after that race, I was like, oh my gosh, my head was spinning because I was like, should I do it at trials? Because like I feel like 4IM is one of the events in the world that hasn't really improved that much. Yes, there's summer, but I feel like the top three is still like around the same times as it was in 2015.
Yeah, 36 in the mix, yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, am I missing something? And then it kind of like rang a bell, and I was like, okay, like we're gonna enter it at trials, see how the week turns out, and then trials happen, and then we talked about it, and like I was entered in it, I wanted to swim it, but then I was like, do I want to do my first big 4am in an Olympic final with girls that have raced it a lot of times in the past like 4 years, whereas like I don't really know how to swim it anymore. Like it was fine because I was like 20 seconds by myself when I was swimming the 436, but like swimming it with girls that like are probably going to be 10 seconds ahead after 200. And it's just like, I was like half in, half out. And I was like, I think for me to do that event, I needed to be fully in and be like, okay, like I'm going to like swim that race and not be scared of it. So I decided to pull out. And then, yes, at the Olympics, I was like, damn, like,
Yeah.
I think that could have been an opportunity. But then also I'm like, I can't change anything. And that's why at World Cups, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to enter those two events and then see how it goes, if I feel comfortable in them. And after the second stop, and after Korea, I actually called Greg and I was like, we can add the two 400s in my program now. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready. And then he was like, okay, good. And then the only thing I told him was like, I just don't want to change the training because like my training changed a lot since I've done those events. And I really like what I'm doing right now. And it's quite different than what I've done in the past. And I think it's working for the 100 and it's also working for the 400 clearly. So that was like my only thing, but yeah, I've been enjoying doing the 400s and I'm excited to see for Worlds how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing you mentioned, you know, going against people that have raced it a ton, that go out really fast. And you did have that experience in Singapore. You had ringer Katie Grimes coming into one stop and, you know, she's like the polar opposite 4IMer to you, maybe. You know, she's out like a rocket at that 200. And you came back, didn't overpass her, but had a great swim. So did that build more confidence or did that bring back bad thoughts again? What would you say?
No, it was good. I mean, like, honestly, like, yes, I was kind of bummed for the crown. I was like, oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I was just like more fired up because I was like, hey, like, if I put things into perspective, I came second after an Olympic silver medalist by a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I told God, I was like, I think I could be in the mix in a couple months. And he was like, yeah, I think so too. And I was like, yeah, like I've done like 3 in the past, like 4 years or something. And like, I'm already like not that far behind. And the thing I love about the 4IM is every time I swim it, I finish the race and then I already know what I can improve to be better, which I think that's why I like World Cup so much because it's like back to back to back. And like in every event, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can fix this. And then the week after I would fix those things, be faster. And like, there's always so much room for improvement in a 400 IM. So I think that's why it's so fun to do.
I want to go back quickly to trials because you mentioned that and your event selection. Did the fire PPO affect you and and how did it affect you moving to Toronto? So those who are listening, the Olympic pool in Montreal had a fire, and at the very last minute, the officials decided to put it to the Pan Am pool, right? How did it affect you? Because that was your home city, not home pool, but home city.
Yeah. I mean, I was really bummed, honestly, because my first Olympic trials was 2012 and it was in Montreal. I was 12 years old. So I was the youngest there. And it's been in Toronto 2016, 2021. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this could be like a full circle moment. I could be at home and like all of my friends bought tickets. Like some of my friends are actually like teachers and they bought tickets for their school and they had like t-shirts and it would have been really cool. And then I was working with the Quebec Federation to actually like organize the event, and it was going to be like something really special. And yes, I was like extremely bummed that it didn't happen because it was really last minute. And because of that, like none of my friends came. And then there's like a little bit of my family that came to Toronto, but like not everyone. So it was definitely like a bummer because like it was not necessarily for me that like I was bummed, but I was more bummed for my family and my friends because like I wanted to show them that like this is like our result, you know, and I didn't get to do that. So that was like the one thing I was mostly bummed about.
Yeah, but whenever I swam in Toronto, I wanted to kick their ass. So I'm a Montreal went to Toronto, and I also swam fast in Toronto. So
Never did. Never did.
Always wanted to.
But when I swam in Montreal, my last meet ever was at nationals for camo, and I was on the camo relay, and I remember just not feeling bonded with the camo team because I was 24 years old. I had done my college swimming. I was swimming there. And the team was much younger than me. It was a lot of age groupers at camo, and I had a couple of people I connected with who were in a national team, but it still was hard to connect. I had my brother there and the coaches. You had a contemporary swimming with you for a long time at camo, Catherine Savard, but then she's retired. What's it like training with the age group team and bonding? You know, not just training with them, but also who you training with and the events you go and training. Describe your environment at camo, and you know, you're a pro at an age group team.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely like changed a lot. Like even from like last year to this year, like the group changed a lot because most of them went to university in the States.
Yeah.
But I would say like, I think we have like one of the club that has like the oldest kind of people. So there's like me at 25, there's a guy at 26, there's one at 23. So it's like we're a little bit older, so that's good. But they do like 50 free and they're like pure sprinter. So I don't really train with them. I train mostly with the younger guys, but it's kind of fun because I get to race them. And it's fun because I can trash talk if I beat them. And they can't really say anything because I'm like, I'm a girl. And then they're like, okay, fine. So it's fun to just like race the boys. And I mean, like, I've done that for most of my swimming career, like race younger boys because like we're around the same speed. So I don't get to race girls often, but I think it's even better for me to race boys because I'm like, oh, like this gives me more confidence. And it like I'm not hard on myself if they beat me either. So it's like a win-win situation.
And you mentioned that with the training, you want to keep the training the same. Things seem to be working well, even though the 400s are going well. Being burnout with training, injuries, things like that. So what's been the main shift in your training, you know, over the course that you have transitioned towards more sprint versatility?
Yeah. See, we do a lot more intensity than what I've done in the past. So for last season, we would put our racing suit at least once a week. And I think like as trials was coming up, it was like twice or 3 times a week.
Wow.
So, and then I would do like, so I used to do a lot of like 50s paced. And then in January, we started doing 100 pace, 200, and then 150, and then 200s, like straight up 200s in the pool. And honestly, that gave me so much confidence. Because let's say like I would push a 159 long course in practice. I'd be like, I feel pretty confident going from a dive and going from 157 or faster.
Yeah, it's pretty
so like
good.
That confidence was like so valuable in training because I would like reinforce this every single week to the point where I would like step on the block and I'll be like, I think I can do like anything and it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your 200 free at Paris was incredible. Just to recap, you sneak into the finals, you're in outside lane, and if it was 205 meters, you would have medals. You chased them down. You did a best time. You dropped times. Talk us through that 200 free journey at Paris. It was quite the roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, so my strength has always been the back half.
Yeah.
I mean, now everyone knows, but
she's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I didn't have the same front end speed as some of the girls because like they can do 100 meter at like 52. I'm not there yet. Yeah. So I knew that like I need to play my strength and do my own race. And that's what we've been working on all year. It was like not going out crazy and like dying or like trying to do their race, but really doing my own race, which yes, like it's like trying to be as close to them as possible at the 100 and then like bring it back home the second 100. Yeah, I think there's definitely room for the first 100, so that's exciting. Yeah. But yeah, I think if it was like 205 meters, I had it, but
you had it for sure.
Maybe next year.
So the 200s, a
Yeah.
very, very crowded field, right? I mean, you got Molly and Arnie and Siobhan and, many more. So is it just, you think, improve that first 100? Is it you think it's the first 100? Do you think it's the first, 50, some more easy speed? Or what do you think will help just continue this awesome progression you'd be having to get,
Yeah.
I don't know, 154s, I guess? That's next stop, huh?
Yeah, definitely 154. I mean, like with the pool at the Olympics, I'm like
Oh,
hoping
yeah,
I
152.
was a 154.
Yeah, skip it.
Because honestly, like from the end lane, I felt so much wave the second 50
Oh,
of my 200. I was like being pushed on the side, and I was like,
wow.
this is way harder than what it should be. And like I looked at the time and like, yes, that was the best time, but like in my head, I was like, the 155 too was like, oh, okay, like it's cool, but I know I'm like a 154, so I'm like, okay,
Nice.
like, so yes, it was a good race. Like I'm not gonna complain. I came fourth
Yeah.
at the Olympics. I had the best time, which I think not a lot of people did at the Olympics, so I'll take it. And I know like there's still a lot of room for improvement. I would say probably the first 100, like easy speed, try to get like 55, 56, like easily. And then we did work on that. So like I started this season and I think I was like 157 or 158. And it was like even split. And then I would go like 58, 58. And then it was like 57, 58. And then it was like 57, 57. So it's heading in the right direction. I just need not to like skip some steps. I think like the next step would be like 56, 57.
No, 52.
Yeah.
Let's get all the way down.
Well, maybe like 56 high, 57. And then it's like,
There you
oh,
go.
no.
But those kind of results normally happen by complete surprise. You touch the wall and go, oh crap, I didn't realize I skipped like I'm now for 154 swimmer. And it happens when you just forget about it, you just race. And I want to ask about your racing because you're obviously a training machine. But I want to say you are very experienced racing now. You've raced ISL, you've raced World Cups, you've been to Worlds, Pan Ams, Comes. You know all the top swimmers, you're friends with them. My Golden State Warriors basketball team, we welcome back Klay Thompson, and he played against Steph Curry. They were teammates for 13 years. They're like best friends. But when it came time to compete, Steph went off and destroyed Klay. Like, he's like, I'm going to take you down. You're my brother, but I'm going to take you down instead of Draymond Green. Do you feel that when you get on deck and you're like, hey, friends, now I'm going down? Like, do you want to take them down even more, even though you're close friends? What's your racing like?
Yes and no. I mean, no matter what, I think with like, if I'm racing my friends, if they do good, if I do good, I'm going to be happy for them
Right.
and for myself, no matter what. And I think like that's the main thing. But also like, yeah, I like to win. So obviously, like in the water, I'm like, okay. And I think the cool thing now, because I've like done so many meets and I've like raced a lot of people, is I know, like, I like to know how everyone swim their race.
Right.
And then I can kind of make a game out of it. So it's like, yeah, so like the 200 free at, let's say like at trials and stuff,
Yeah.
like I knew some of the girls, they were going to go out fast. And then my goal was just like, okay, like I'll go out with them, like as easy as I can.
Yeah.
And just like, I'll split them this the second 100. And I would like be turning and I'll be like smiling because I'm like, I know I have this. And it sounds really mean, but like, or I like to negative split my 200 in the morning because it gives me like confidence. And I would be at a meet, so like at Olympic trials in the morning, I did like my first 100 and I think I was almost like a minute. And I was like fourth or fifth and I was like super relaxed. And then I was like, okay. And then I did my second 100 and it was like 57. I think it came back like 27 or 28 in my last 50. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And it just like gives me confidence that like, if I'm able to do this, I can probably like pass anyone the last 50 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As a swimmer that never passed anyone on a last 50, I'm just like, I love to hear it. And I feel like you, Bobby Fink, there's athletes out there that, you know, the other competitors are now knowing, hey, they can't be on my hip at this last turn because they're going to pass me up. But is there any, you know, anything that comes in mind, like a practice or workout where it was just like, Man, that killed me. I didn't have that next gear at all left at the end of it.
That happens often.
Okay.
I would say like if I would have tell like one of the like harder sets I've done and one that like actually gives me like a lot of confidence. I don't know if Greg would like it for me to share it, but I'll share it anyway. It's long course. It's like a 200 freestyle set. It's long course, and we would do 3 200s from a push on 5 minutes, and it's the first one is like best time plus 20, and then plus 10, and then the last one is max. And then we would have 350s push, and it's you need to split faster than the last 200. So like the first 150 needs to be faster than the first 200, etc. And then it's 3 ones, same concept, and then 350s max.
What do you go on those?
So like right before the Olympics, I did it, and that was like one of the best ones I've done. And so I pushed 158. And then I did a 126 at the 150. And then I was holding 55s in the hundreds, and then a 26.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That'll give you confidence for a good 200
You have a good Olympics, yeah.
Right, yeah, I think so.
Like, yeah, or like we would like he loves to do hundreds race pace now because like 50s are too easy apparently. And like I started this season with like trying to hold 58s, and I would be like happy if I was like able to hold 58s. It was like 4 or 5 ones on 4 minutes, and it would be like trying to hold 58s, and then at the end, like before the Olympics, I was holding 55s.
Wow.
And just like having that drop just in practice definitely like gives me confidence, and I'm like, okay, like it should be fine if I just do like 2 of those, you know.
Do you think is it nature or nurture that you Mary-Sophie became what you just described? I swam against your father. He was a drop dead sprinter. I never beat him, but I didn't. Your mom swam. I don't know what kind of swimmer she was. Do you think it was nature or nurture? You just always like that. You just like a workhorse. You love that feeling of hard work and getting better with distance. So what do you think?
I think it's kind of cool because like my dad was like a sprinter and my mom was more like a distance swimmer, and I think I'm like little middle. I'm like mid distance, so I have like the best of both worlds. But I obviously like I wanted to swim because of them. I was like, oh, I want to do what you guys are doing, and then afterwards it just became like I just love being in the water, and I love like the feeling of like pushing yourself in training, and you know you've done everything that you could, and then you get the results at the meet, and you're like, oh, okay, that's all the work I've put in, and like this is so rewarding.
We mentioned that you've done a lot of racing, a lot of training with a lot of different people, and obviously you're putting the work in.
Yeah.
But not everyone puts in the same work, or it's like a different type of work, right?
Yeah.
So I guess how do you handle when you're racing people or you see other people training and maybe you don't perceive them putting in the same work and maybe getting great results as well?
Yeah. I mean, it used to affect me a little bit more when I was younger, because like I train really hard, and then I would see people that I would like train with, and then they would be like better than me in racing, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like why? But like as I grew older, I realized that like everyone is different, and I know what I need to do to be at my best, and then what they need to do to be at their best is probably different than me. And it's just like trying to like tell them apart and be like, I know I've done everything that I could to be at my best, and that's the only thing you can control.
I have a question about somebody who's been to a lot of pools all over the world. Before you got on, we were lamenting the change in the weather, and I have the luxury of swimming in outdoor pools all the time, and Luke and John, for the most part, are swimming inside. And I'm just going to say that swimming inside sucks. So, yeah, what are some of the best pools that you've ever swam in? And Do you ever have this like? Do you ever have this moment where you're going to an indoor pool and you're like, ugh, this sucks?
Yeah.
I really liked the pool that we raced in at Commonwealth Games in 2018. It was in Australia, Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Gold Coast, sorry. And that was like one of my favorite pools because every time before finals, sunset would be out and it would be like so pretty. So that was like one of my favorite pool. Definitely for like competition, I usually prefer indoor just because there's less variabilities. Right. But training, definitely outdoors.
Yeah, I get it for indoors, but you remember there's some pools like the way that the lights work in there that you get in there first thing in the morning and it's like a 6 a.m. swim and everybody's tired and quiet and you just hear the humming of the lights. And it's like, why am I awake? Why am I in here? That pool looks so cold.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, like so the Camel pool is closed and then the Olympic Stadium pool is closed because of the fire. So right now it's like really hard because I have like 3 different pools that I'm going to and they're all 25-meter pools, 6 lanes. It's terrible. So yeah, definitely it's hard to get motivated to jump in the pool and it's getting cold. Like yesterday it was like -7. So it's like, it's hard when you wake up at 4:10 in the morning and you like have to drive there and it's like really cold and you're like, oh, I have to jump in a cold pool.
But you wake up at 4:10?
Yeah.
Why do you wake up at 4:10?
Well, because we're starting at 5:30.
Ooh, wait. So why does it take 1 hour and 20 minutes from time alarm goes off to your body in the water?
Because it takes me around 40 minutes to get there.
Okay, fair enough.
Where are you swimming?
So we have 3 CJEP pool right now.
Yeah, I swam at Vaux-Montréal.
Okay, so we have the mornings we swim at Marie-Victorin.
Yeah.
Like in Montreal North. Yeah. And then we have Cégep du Vieux.
Yeah.
So that's downtown. And then there's one that just opened in Laval that we swim at. So yeah, like every time I do a training session, it's between like 30 to 1 hour, 10 minutes to get there or to come back home.
Wow.
And then we have like 2 different gyms and it's another like 30 to 40 minutes every time. So it's like, it's been like really tough since coming back from the Olympics. It's like a lot of traveling and it's tiring. And I didn't really know what to expect going to World Cups because I was kind of like, it's a lot of change. I don't know where I'm going to be at. And I didn't want to put myself too much pressure on, but then obviously it did well. So I think it just like, shows like, even like when the situations are not ideal, you can still like do well. But then also I think it gives me like strength because I know I don't have it easy. And I can build confidence off of that.
Well, that's special. And I wish I had that when I was 18 because I moved from the Caribbean to Montreal and I was swimming at McGill and McGill had a 25-yard 6-lane pool. Yeah. So we had to walk half an hour in the snow at 5 o'clock to Cégep Vaux-Montréal to get long course. And I never went to morning practice because it is -20 degrees and I'm from the Caribbean. And I didn't improve my swimming because I was a pushy, to be honest. I was like, I can't do this. and it's only when I started like having that attitude you just had, my swimming did get better. I mean, at one point I was cycling from downtown Montreal to Parc Piscine Olympique to go and train and do that. Yeah. That's when I got better. So kudos to you. John, I interrupted you, but this reflection on personal reflection.
It's all good. Yeah. I have the solution for us all. So right now I'm training in the land of luxury. It's called a 24 hours fitness pool where it's 3 lanes, highly chlorinated, and 87 degrees. So there's no worry about getting in and being cold. You're warmed up by the time you hit that water. So there you go. You're welcome, everyone. Don't have to worry about these cold indoor pools.
Yeah.
So what is the dream temperature for you in a training pool?
Depends if it's winter or summer.
Okay, let's say we'll go right now, yeah.
I don't even know like what a normal temperature, but like I like it when it's a little bit warmer in the winter just because it doesn't feel like a shock. But then in the summer, I like competition pool, like temperature type. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
It's just-
the highly chlorinated pool in the morning, we have it, and it's so bad. Like people keep coughing, and we have to like open the outdoor pool, but it's like -10, so we have like cold air, and then everyone's coughing, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that was like my training pool growing up, where there was like water aerobics at this rec center, and they'd close the vents to keep it nice and hot for them.
Yeah.
And then we'd go do a dive set, and then we'd go lay on the deck where it's snowing in the winter just to like cool
Yeah.
off and have steam coming off of us and all that.
Yeah.
So, man, well, thanks for bringing back the fond memories.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, I'm still living in there.
There's a pool in Etobicoke, Canada, that there's brown stains on the wall. And I was like, why are there brown stains? No, that's the bromine. So bromine is even worse. I was like, I am not swimming there. Why do I train there?
Yeah, you can taste it, the bromine. Yeah, it tastes different. But I feel like I don't smell chlorine anymore. Well, I probably do now, but there was a period of time where I felt like it was just burned into my nostrils, and I was used to breathing it so much that people would be like, oh, did you just swim? And I'd be like, what? What do you mean? And they're like, oh, you smell like chlorine. I'm like,
You're like,
oh, I didn't even know.
There you go. It's like when I get back to the office, I feel like I can't smell it too much, and I'm like, okay. My patients can like feel me or feel the chlorine like hitting their senses that it's so strong. Another thing that
chlorine. Go ahead, sir. Go on.
I said another thing that happens to me. Sorry, we're going on old man tangent here. Now, when I took a break from swimming, one thing that happens to me, I think it's gotten better because I've been swimming more. I'll be like working, and then randomly water will just shoot out my ear.
What?
Like 2 hours later, and just like be running down my cheek. This huge thing of water,
You're
which
like-
never happened when I swam a lot.
What is the medical term for this? Ear incontinence?
Maybe, I don't know. Luke, come on, you don't swim anymore. You must be able to relate to this.
Yes. Listen, fun fact, chlorine has no smell. You get smelling when chlorine hits ammonia, aka body
urine.
oils and urine.
Yeah.
So if a pool is highly smells of chlorine, guess what?
Yeah, who's the scientist now, John?
Guess what?
Boom. Mind blowing. I don't know if that says anything about the chlorine or about my cleanliness right there, but I won't take offense to it either way. All right.
Mary, my last year of swimming, I was in Charlotte with Team Elite. And so it was like a pro group, and we had a similar setup where there were 3 different training pools and 2 different gyms that we lifted in, and like but in a way, so yeah, it created like a lot of, the schedule was kind of wonky, and it required some thought ahead of time about how to plan your week, and sometimes you got stuck in traffic and all that. But also, I mean, you're talking about like the training sometimes can get kind of stale and boring, and when you adapt it, it reinvigorates you. It has you something new to think about and chew on, and way to break it down mentally and look forward to. And also, I feel like going to a lot of different pools can create some of that variety too. At least for me personally, I was like, just having that change up of scenery was kind of nice, especially like as you get a little bit later. I think I was 27 at the time, so you've been swimming for a while. You swim in a lot of pools. Getting later, it's like any type of stimulus like that can be a positive, I think, too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would love to have like one pool that I just like focus at and like feels like it's my home. I feel like right now, like the big thing is like all of those pools doesn't feel like it's home. I think maybe it's just like getting used to it, because I mean, like I was there for a month, and then I was gone for a month, and then now I've been back for 2 weeks. So I think it's just like getting into that rhythm and like maybe like try to call them home at some point. But I feel like now it's still to the state that I'm like, oh, like this is not my pool. I'm just like a passenger, And I think it's just getting like more training in there to feel comfortable in there.
Well, you got to set all the pool records in every event.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
I mean, I'm doing a meet this weekend on Saturday, and it's like a sprint challenge. It's like provincial. It's like nothing crazy, but I'm doing every single race of the meet. So I'm doing 9 events in 2.5 hours. And my goal is to break so there's like records for the meet for every event. And my goal is to break every single record of every single race.
How many monsters are you gonna drink for this?
9. I heard it. 9 monsters. We know the answer.
Where's the
I think
sponsorship?
I think just one, but yeah, it's gonna be a good lactate set. So we'll see.
Whenever I tell people, yeah, I swam, and they go, oh, so did you go to Olympics? And personally, I missed the Olympics by 3 times by like a 10th, like a qualifying time. So I didn't go to Olympics, but I missed it really a bunch of times, and it really. Younger in my career, it hurt a lot, but now I kind of laugh it off because as soon as I say no, I just missed it. They go, "Oh, well, I swam in high school too, or I did the swimming." And all of a sudden, I've gone from like being almost an Olympian to relating to them at the fact that they can do the breaststroke, right? So I want you now. You see some of you mix light of things now, take the heart and make light of things. Let's reflect on when you have those conversations. Like we know all about. Listen, you made the Olympic team, my dream. You made the Olympic final, my dream. 5 times.
Yeah.
You make the Olympic time 5 times. Dream, unbelievable. You are one of the greatest swimmers Canada has ever had. You have to realize that, right? Nobody's done that kind of shit, right? That's unbelievable. But you must have the most awkward conversations sometimes still to this day. And you have to be like, have certain maturity about it. Like, yeah, okay. Like, reflect on that, where you are now.
Like, so many times people have been like, oh, like, you going to the Olympics, how did it go? And I was like, oh, it went okay. And they're like, oh, did you win any medals? And I was like, no, I came fourth 4 times. And they're like, I'm so sorry. And like, that's always the first thing. And I'm like, well, did I say I was sad? Like, there's nothing to be sorry about. I mean, yes, the position sucks. Like, the position in itself, I'm not going to lie, it freaking sucks. But, like, the performance in itself doesn't. And like, I know I've done everything that I could, and that day was 4th. And again, the position sucks, but not the performance. So like, honestly, like, yes, I was sad after, but then also I was kind of like, I can't be mad because I'm like, I know I've done everything that I could to be in the best possible shape the day of the meet. And that day was just 4th. And like, I can't control the rest of the athletes, you know? So yeah, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying now because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not. Like, it's just, yes, like I don't have the medal. I don't have like everything that comes with it. That's like maybe the annoying part because I'm a big believer that it's not the medals that makes the athlete, but what the athlete has been through. And being on that 4th, 5th place swimmer, you don't get that recognition. And then people value like medals over everything else. And I think that's what is kind of sad about the sport. But I know like all the efforts I've done, I know all the struggles I've had to go through. And I think the people around me know that too. And I think that's what makes my career like, that's why I'm like so happy about my career. It's not like because I have my Olympic medals. It's because like everything that I've done led me to a 4th place. And even with all the bad that happened, I still like came out on top. So yeah.
Kudos. Unbelievable.
All right, Mary, just a few rapids and we'll let you go. What's the hardest race in swimming?
400 IM, long course, 200 backstroke, short course.
Short course. Olympic gold or world record?
World record.
What's the hardest world record?
Well, for girls, because I think for guys it's like 200 free long course.
Yeah.
For girls, I would say maybe I'm biased, but like the 400 IM short course is crazy fast. I mean, Summer might have a go at it this summer. But I would say either like the 4 IM short course or the 4 IM long course. Because it was ridiculous.
Still have the short course?
The what?
Who's got the short course? Katinka?
Belmonte. Yeah.
Oh, Belmonte. Really? Wow.
Oh, that's an old one. It's really old. Yeah.
Okay. What are you listening to, watching, or reading right now?
Oh my gosh, I have my book right there. It's like a girl's book.
What does it say? You and Me on what?
on vacation. It's like a girly book, but I really like to read. So I think that's like my 24th book of this year so far.
Wow.
But yeah, or otherwise, like I like to listen to happy music before I race, like music that I can sing to. And then I'm a big like chatter. Like I like to chat behind the blocks and like in the ready room with the girls. So I do have some preferences on like what events, because some girls chat more than others. Like freestyle, they chat a bit less. Whereas like I am is so fun because everyone loves to talk. Yeah, I know it's kind of weird. Like backstroke is good. I am is good. Fly, freestyle, it's and then breaststroke, I don't really know. But yeah.
Man, well, you're the only one who gets to experience all of those ready rooms.
I know.
All right, you're gonna get married. What's are you considering the double hyphen name? You'd be an innovator.
I think I'll just take his last name.
Okay.
And it's kind of nice because it's like starts with an H also, so like my initials will stay the same.
Nice.
Yeah. What's the best race you ever saw live?
I think Summer's first world record in Canada.
Yeah, trials.
Everyone was just like, everyone stopped doing anything they were doing, and everyone was just like standing. And even like in the ready room, people would like, they came out, and like the whole pool was like screaming for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
was wild.
That was crazy.
Man, this one's for Luke. Saint Viator or Fairmont Bagels?
Wait, I think Saint Viator.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
What's the go-to order? What do you get?
I don't see, like, I just buy them at the grocery store. But I know, I don't go there often.
She gets day-old bagels.
I know. I only
been 40 years, Luke. Things change, man.
Also, like, the sad part is, like, you have to eat them within a day because otherwise they turn bad after, like, 2 or 3 days.
That's right.
So basically, like, you have to commit to eating 6 bagels in a day.
Listen, it's been done.
That's why we swim.
Do it.
I know it's been done. It's just a little challenging.
Well, you're no stranger to a challenge, so
yeah, I'm like,
there we go.
Let's go.
Red Bull bagel.
You can make it look good. Take some photos. Use one of your preset filters.
Use my preset. I know. I wanted to sell them for a while. Maybe I should. Now people are asking about it.
Oh, in the bagel biz.
Yeah.
I like it.
No,
We got to come up with a brand name for this, though, Mary. What's it going to be? Yeah. I don't know.
4th place bagels? Does that mean?
Ooh, shots fired.
Sorry.
No, it's got to be the perfect 5. Pentagonal. I don't know. I don't get it. Mary, how often are you...
Instead of selling 6 bagel, I sell like in sets of 4.
Yeah. See, I like it.
Whoa. 4 bagels? What an innovation.
And said people could actually eat them in a day or 2.
Only 3 of them go stale?
Much.
Yeah, I think this is very swimming centric. We're still thinking the regular person eats 4 bagels in one day.
All right, the most important question is, how often are you doing social kick these days?
Social kicking, like at practice?
Yeah.
All the time.
Well done, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday it was so good. Yesterday he was like conditioning us, or I don't know. He had like candy, like Haribo candy, and like I love candy. And like I would do like 100 meter, and then he would be like left or right, and then in one of them there'd be like a candy, and I'll be like so excited, and I'll be like yeah, and I would eat it, and then I was the only one. Like I was the oldest there. But I was the one getting most excited about getting a candy. And every 100, I'd be like, left. And then he'd be like, I don't even have it. And I'm like...
That one's for you, Maddie. This one's for candy. See, even Olympians do it too.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. All right, Mary, thanks so much for hanging out with us. It's fun to get to chat. It's been fun watching your career over many years. And yeah, we're looking forward to continuing to watch it. Welcome back anytime.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
That's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming and we'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.